You know what I used to find myself doing was touching my lips to it, which is probably not good.
It's not good in these times of coronavirus, but
no,
it's not bad either.
Not bad. Got to do what you got to do. Are we back? Are we here?
This is happening.
Okay. Woo. All right, Garage Gym guys, we are back in the gym Sunday morning with a whole new plan. Get yourself hydrated because we're actually going to finish this one. We did podcast 2 and had too many interruptions. We decided to scrap it.
But we're right back.
Yeah, we're back. It's all right. So we're back off. We're 2 weeks out of our first podcast. We did a 2-week challenge. So let's see. I just went on a vacation, so I had to make some decisions on whether fitness or family was more important. So probably not going to get too much into that. But and then you just started PT school. Are you 2 weeks in? 1 week in?
I just finished my first week.
Nice. And you're commuting. So commute's a thing for you.
Yeah. Luckily, there's coronavirus, so it's like...
Let's put that on a T-shirt.
Luckily,
there's coronavirus.
Luckily, coronavirus.
Okay.
Because classes just keep getting canceled because people keep testing positive, so I don't have to drive that often. I think I went 2 times last week. So
okay.
And it's just my opportunity to, listen to some jams. I don't ever listen to music. And so
another fun fact. Sean is not a music guy, but you are.
I'm a musician I'm a self-hating musician. I'm one of those self-hating musicians that doesn't actually like listening to music, but forced with a commute, I've slipped back into it.
That's good. That's good. We're learning and growing now. So then there's that. And then, I finally brought a little more cardio back into my game here. I wasn't neglecting it by choice. It was just time. I wasn't making the time for it. And it was a lack of good planning. So I could talk about, actually, let me tell you, did you see that assault bike workout I sent you?
I saw the assault bike workout.
Did we talk about it, or did I talk about it with
you sent
somebody
me
else?
A text, and that was it. It was a picture of the workout. And I was
okay.
like, what am I supposed to do with this information? I have neither an assault bike nor a desire to do this workout.
Yeah. So I was telling Steven about it, and I couldn't remember who I had talked to about it, but what was it? 5 burpees buy-in. And then you got to do 100 cals. I do on the Echo bike, and then you have to do 5 burpees every minute into that. So it was actually fine during it, but it was one of those rev up where it gets worse after you're done. You know what I mean?
I do know that. I do know that from the assault bike especially.
Yeah, I call them hot sauce workouts.
Hot.
Because it's not that hot while you're eating it, and then you're doing the afterburn, and the water won't make it go away.
Right.
It was, and then I woke up the next day and was like, what did I do?
Now, is that responsible training? Oh, I actually recall this text. You're like, it was a foaming blood at the mouth sort of day.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right.
So
I guess you got to break that out every once in a while.
Yeah, every once in a while. So the door was open, and in Michigan, it's cooling down a little bit. So I got that good blood in the mouth type of taste coming back.
That's only going to get worse as it gets colder.
Yeah, especially when I'm trying to do the nasal breathing.
Ah, okay.
And it's, but no, that I remember what's that energy system, Sean? Fun fact.
For what time?
When
what you just did?
Yeah.
You did a time. By the way, Brendon did it in 7 minutes and something.
Yeah, 7:39 or something.
Which would put you squarely in, oh God. Yeah, aerobic. I think you're just
over into it.
Getting past glycolytic.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that. I'm going to have to look that up now.
I didn't prep Sean on any of this. And he's got to go in his little chapters of his brain. I guess they're not little chapters, are they? They're big chapters.
They're volumes.
Yeah.
They're volumes of information because I'm a genius.
So yeah, that destroyed me actually 2 days later. I woke up and was like, my traps and I get my traps and lats get really sore on burpees, which is a really weird thing. Because I think I pack my shoulders in order to not. I'm so afraid of hurting my AC joint, and
anterior shoulder. You're just protecting that. You think?
Yeah. So I always keep a nice a pack, and I try not to overextend my arms and roll my shoulders forward. So I get really sore lats in the burpee,
which is so weird because if you're extending your arm forward, like this should be like serratus anterior and like all your front muscles absorbing it and then putting it into your back. But you have like this movement fear thing going on. And I'm a student of physical therapy, so this is not like PT advice. I just think it's curious.
Yeah.
But it worked out. So you get sore in the traps and the lats. It must be like a tall guy thing. Yeah,
well, you've corrected some of that movement fear. Like I was sitting back too far in the front squat because I was afraid of getting into that patellar situation.
You're gonna shear the knees. You're gonna shear your knees right off.
What, sitting back too far?
No, if you put your knees out over your toes, then they explode confetti.
I know. I was like all about that bigger, faster, stronger advice when I was like 14. They're like, if you tape the string to the knee and it goes over the toe, you are wrong. And I'm like, all right, well, hold on.
This position never happens in athletics. Your knees never go past your toes. Therefore, when you squat, knees behind the toes.
Oh, yeah. It was a very you're right
sarcastic.
Or wrong. Disclaimer sarcastic. Okay. So
I'm sorry. It's just we don't know. Who's listening?
Yeah. This is for us too. Okay. So let's talk about let's debrief again. Real quick, because we already had the conversation. But I guess we can give a little more data on it now. The weekly challenge, which was the 2-week challenge, which I gave you the Striders.
Right.
6. What was it? 6 1 minute on, 1 minute off. So 6 rounds.
Hold on. It was 8.
8. Yeah. So the Striders. That was all for a reason. And you told me I needed to start stepping up and doing 5x5 because I was doing a little 4 sets of 3, 3 sets of 3.
Yeah. So again, my challenge was to give him 5x5s because you can like really lull yourself into complacency with like a 3x3. You're just like, oh, this weight feels heavy, but it's not actually heavy. And then you can get through your 3 sets of 3 really easily. But I think with a 5x5, it's harder to hide from. That's all I'll say.
I would agree.
I concur.
Yeah. So we already debriefed a lot of this, and I don't know. Let me just
in our Phantom podcast?
Yeah.
Well, they don't know that. You gotta.
I know. So what I'm trying to do is warm my brain up. All right. So yeah, I noticed that with the 5x5, I lift the big 4. Oh, I call it the big 4. Is that actually called the big 4?
It is in Garage Gym, guys.
Yeah. So for me, that my big 4 is deadlift, front squat, barbell standing press, and then flat bench. So you stepping out? I'm gonna keep going with this. All right. So what I noticed with the 5x5 is when I start that set, my brain, with the way it feels, I fully think I'm gonna be able to finish that set. And rep 4 sneaks up on me so fast. It's like, I don't know if it's a mental thing.
Yeah.
What's that?
We're getting those interruptions already. Hi, Katie.
All right, podcast now starts at 04 or midnight.
Katie, we're recording right now. You look lovely, though.
Okay, lock the door.
Could you close and lock the door, please?
She said she puked.
I don't know.
Think she said that.
Probably shouldn't be on the internet telling what your wife said, like the first words out of her mouth in the morning. Anyway.
So
I think I can manage cutting that out, but we definitely want to avoid that in the future. We'll put a recording in progress sign on the door in the future. Anyway.
Yeah. All right, let's rip it out. So the 5x5, I feel like it's very hard for me to determine whether I'm going to finish that set. So I have to make sure that I don't get too crazy with the weight because again, the point was to try to keep the same weight for all sets.
That's correct.
So what I know, actually, now that it's been my 2nd week doing that, I've been charting over there. I'm actually finishing them and getting almost back to my 3x3 weights.
Doing 3x3 weights on a 5x5.
Yeah.
So I mean, your work capacity went up, your overall volume went up, probably getting some juiciness, some thickness.
I was gonna say that.
Right?
I was like, I caught myself looking in the mirror, and I'm like,
what do you mean caught yourself? I look in the mirror constantly.
Yeah.
I'm always checking.
But I was
like 0.02 millimeters on the bicep today. Good job.
Yeah, I was. Your eye is dialed. But I was looking. I'm like, oh, my arms are almost looking like I lift weights now because I have that long arm syndrome where I've never had like the guns, And yesterday I was like, finally.
Finally, the guns have arrived.
And let's also say this. So I got really bad, or I have really bad elbows from pull-ups, from football. I had a couple things happen in football, and then just general things. So I can't really sit there and do curls and triceps all day. So for me to like be able to work my arms without hurting my elbows and just doing a couple of these small 5x5 things, like it is awesome for me. You know what?
That's great. That's great. I'll say about the arms, we talked about this a lot. The tendons in the elbow are a lot weaker than your biceps and triceps. So my feeling is that arm training is something you kind of have to earn, and you have to like go at it a long time to let those tendons catch up, especially at the elbow, because I think I'm turning a corner on my medial epicondylitis. I had like a little elbow issue on the inside, and it's just that I'm like the muscles around that tendon are like getting bigger, and I think the tendon is finally caught up. So I wouldn't limit yourself from doing arm training. I would say just like do some, but like ease into it, because you're not training the, long story short, you're not training the muscles, you're training your tendons until your tendons catch up, at which point you can then train your muscles.
And that was really new to me when you started explaining that. Now, real quick, you said pausing will help do that too. Pausing, or is it slow eccentric that will help focus on that?
I mean, I guess you could like make a basic science argument that there's like you're getting rid of like the stretch on the muscle. That's probably less the case with bicep curls. I was talking more with like bench and squats and things. I like to do pauses, but with curls for the girls, and especially tricep extensions, which I need to do more of, I say just lighten the weight and don't go chasing that pump quite yet till you've put 6 months in. I would say 6 months. Who's going to hold themselves back from guns training for 6 months? Come on.
Well, I'm very fearful. I'm skittish when it comes to hurting my elbows, because I've just gotten to a point this year where I feel like I'm a lifter now. And if I do anything wrong, it's going to just ruin my day, because it's kind of what I got. I don't have a lot of time for everything else. But right now dips and single kettlebell bent over row with a wrist wrap is getting the guns juicy.
I like that.
That's where that's going.
That's a nice workaround.
Yeah, so that's working. No pull-ups until further notice. All right, so let's...
Big guy problems.
Yeah, oh my God. So I'm going to do a quick Q&A here. It's just one question, because I wanted to ask you this all week. So what's hot? What are you thinking about? What's your mind keep drawn to in the current workouts?
In my current workouts, I mean, the weights are just kind of stale. I think I'm really at that point now where I'm very progress is incremental, to like put it generously. So the thing I'm when I get like that, I'm just like, okay, so maybe I can think about another aspect of my fitness while this strength thing kind of just chugs along. And so I was inspired by one of my fellow PT students in my cohort. He posted his run workout, and my guy did 30 minutes, 5 miles, which are like 6-12 split. I think it was a 6-12 split.
Yeah.
And he's not jacked, but he's in shape, like clearly.
Yeah.
I think he's like a CrossFitter kind of
type of build.
Yeah, that kind of guy.
Yeah.
But like the natty kind.
Yeah, El Natural.
Not the kind you see on the posters. Not saying any names, but just the natty male walks into a CrossFit gym and like does it.
Well,
in shape.
Who's that guy in CrossFit right now that's got, is it Kapowski or whatever? He looks pretty natural compared to the other guys.
I don't know this individual.
Okay, we'll talk about him later.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he did what he just did same split. He just went out for a run.
He went for a run and he did 6-minute splits, and I was like, "Oh, I'm very bad at running." And so I was like, "That's great that Brendon issued me this Striders challenge. I'm gonna like do it." And I got out the other day and I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And then I didn't set my timer. And then I was like, oh, I guess I'm just going for a run. I can run 6-minute splits for 5 miles.
No.
No, I absolutely can't. And so I did a pathetic 8:30 mile, like around my block, back, just right back into my house right before dinner. That was it. 1 mile, 8 minutes, 30 seconds. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
this is something that needs to be fixed. I don't need to run 5 miles at 6-minute splits, but it'd be nice to run consecutive miles at what's respectable.
7 to 7:30, I think, is a really good pace for someone to say, to constrain themselves in their lifting. Say, like, I think that if you say I can always run a 7-minute pace, 7:15-minute pace, I can loop those, then you can go ahead and chase that deadlift. I think that 7:15, 7:30 should keep you in check.
Get into the 7:15 range, and then that's respectable.
I like it. Yeah, I like that range because
So if I woke up just groggy one morning and then waltzed over to the local 5K, what time should I put up? According to you, Mr. Triathlete.
Oh, so that would be, well, all right, math.
Not maxing myself out, but like, is that literally 21 minutes?
No, because it's, it's like 3.2, so you're at 7:15, so 7:14, 21 plus
sub 25.
Yeah, sub 25, sub 23.
Sub 25 is respectable?
Yeah, I mean, I see some people, and everyone's different, right? So my buddy Steven would probably, he's farther up the ladder than I am, but I see people that train to do sub 23 5Ks, and I'm like, oh, so some people are training for that time. So if you just train a little less than those people and you can still hit it, I think that's pretty cool.
Sub 23, but can still lift.
Oh, yeah, that's what we're getting at here. That, okay. But can still push weight.
Push weight. Okay,
Yeah.
I like that a lot because
yeah,
I caught you one day. I walked into your living room and you were watching like your triathletes channel. These guys are just like running in the mountains, and you were like engrossed because this was still triathlete Brendon.
Yeah,
and I was like, these guys look emaciated.
Oh my God, yeah. What is the guy, the man, the GOAT? I can't think of it. No, not GOAT like the greatest of all time. They call him the GOAT because he's really good balance.
He's got 2 horns coming out of his head.
Yeah. And he runs for Hoka. I can't think of his name, but he beat the record on the Appalachian Trail. He ran the whole thing.
I guess that's a big trail that I should know.
It goes from Maine to Georgia.
Oh my God.
He ran it like he'd sleep very sparingly. I saw him crossing a river, and he stepped out onto a rock, and when he was in the lunge position, and when his thigh kind of broke, like, what would be this angle, like slightly below 45, or slightly above 45, he's going to 90. I mean, he just collapsed because he just has no strength there. And granted, he's running the AT, but like, we need to have a balance. So that's why I look at those guys and I'm like, well, that guy's not going to freaking change his tire very well. You're not going to be the guy that lifts up the back cargo compartment of the car, grabs the tire with one arm and burps it out.
I'm not going to rely on the GOAT for much.
No.
Like, Brendon had a tree fall down in his backyard, and then your father-in-law came and chopped it all up. Like, he had the chainsaw, right?
Yeah, and he's like, no, throw all these in the woods.
I was going to say, it was like 3-4 hours of picking up wood.
Well, no, it would have been. So the tree fell down, and I ripped it off another tree with my Jeep because I had to have a moment to where I felt like I was in, the quote unquote masculine member of the family. Females can rip trees down too, but then the tree's 5 feet off the ground. He lops all the branches off. Now we just have tree.
Yeah.
And he's cutting them into 6-foot sections, and he goes, "Hey, Brendon, why don't you just pick those up, roll them, or end over end them, and put them on the property line so they at least like half decent." And I was like, God, what did I sign up for?
What'd you do with a 6-foot log?
I end over end it like caber toss style, like Scottish.
Toss.
Yeah,
I was wondering.
And then I rolled it when I got a position, and I was like, that was 20 minutes of work that if I didn't lift could have been an all day adventure.
Yeah,
I didn't even think about it. I went golfing after, and that's why we lift now, right?
Yeah, it's it's part of the why is just being competent.
Competent is
it's
a really
kinda,
good
it's
word.
competent, and it's kind of like a hidden superpower because I was asking my wife the other day, I like step out of the bathroom and I'm like, I'm wearing this shirt. I'm like, am I annoyingly big, or, you know, do I like, if you saw me, do I look big? And I ask her this question like once a day because I'm insecure lifter guy, but she's like, you look like you work out. And I was like, good.
Because that's where you want to be.
I kind of just want to look like I work out, and look competent. I think that's probably a better way to describe it than like, oh, this guy lifts. It's like, no, that guy looks competent. Like if we get into some shit, then I'm going to that guy to ask him to help me put this tire on, or I'm not going to mess with that guy because he's physically stronger than I am.
Yeah, it's a deterrent. Being a little bit big is a nice bit of a deterrent. And even from jiu-jitsu, when you have an angry person that's stronger than you, it's still a handful. Doesn't matter how good you are. Yeah,
you could be several belts up, but strong is strong.
Strong is strong, yeah, and eye gouge. You know, it's had this conversation.
They don't teach you that in white belt. It's just
yeah, it's a long conversation with about that would probably fire some people up, but this is not the BJJ guys podcast. But yeah,
one day we'll get there.
But what was I going to tell you? Like I was at work and like I'm waiting for this team to come move this desk, and I'm just like, I'm sick of this, because if I get this done, I don't have to ask somebody later, and I just pick it up and I'm like, ugh, and I just like throw it outside, and I was just like, that's why we lift, just to do normal life stuff. Like my life's not on the line. It's just it just makes life easier for me.
I also really enjoy it. Katie was Brendon's wife was threatening to have the living room bleed into the garage gym and like basically cut off the lifting platform. She's like, you won't be able to work out for a week because I'm moving this furniture. And I went like almost sociopath on her, like, you don't do that to me.
Yeah.
you don't say those words to me.
What? You're gonna move your crap into your garage without asking me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
that was my rationale.
Lady, this is all I have. Okay. This is all I have.
You understand. I drive like 15-20 minutes here every morning just so I can like pick some heavy stuff up. That's got to be more than just me trying to be competent at that point. That's just like, this levels me out. And I think so many guys can probably relate to that.
Yeah.
Because like, what are you doing after you can bench your body weight, squat your body weight, like diminishing returns, man. Like you don't need to get much stronger than that.
Yeah, it's true. It's like, where am I using all this strength? But I think that's why the running component's fun. It's fun to bounce to something else. I think for people that don't like running, at least do it so your life doesn't get stale. Now I'm going to go solve this problem. Now I'm going to go solve that problem.
It gives you motivation juice. Aerobic activity makes you like, gives you a little bit of fire, a little bit of more I can do things juice.
It is a weird, I see what you're saying. It's hard to describe any better than that. Yeah.
I mean, literally you have more mitochondria in your muscles. Mitochondria are the powerhouses of the cell. So if you have more powerhouses and those things are just there,
yeah,
fun fact, then you probably are a more energetic person. And so that's another thing. Just to bring this way back to a gentleman who can run 6-minute splits for 30 minutes.
Yeah,
that guy's probably very energetic. And I was like, I think I want some of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I'm the lion. I like to run around, get something done during the day, and then lounge in the sun all day. Like I like to either be laying or running. I don't like to be sitting. Like I got my leg propped here so I can kind of stick in this chair. Like some people are like the Jack Russell Terrier. They just want to run all day.
Right.
And I just tried to be that guy. I can't be that guy.
Can't do it.
I'm not that guy. But you brought us back off Q&A right to where we wanted to start for today's podcast.
Great.
This is...
Hold on. That's great. Let's take a quick break so I can check on the camera. I'm glad I brought us back to the Q&A. We're gonna jump right back in 1 second.
So this is the topic of today's podcast. We finally made it around. It is the... Let's see. Let's work on the title here. It's the beginner's guide to running, but it could be the lifter's guide to running.
I like that the most.
Okay. A lifter's guide to starting running.
What did you say before?
The Lifter's Guide to Running.
That's better.
Okay. Lifter's Guide to Running. So this is why you need advice from me. It is not because I'm an awesome runner and because I know everything, but I will tell you, I've done a lot of, if you were to look at how much work I've put in and what I've gotten out of it, that disparity, I think, because of I have done all the failures for everyone. All they have to do is now just know what I failed on.
I call that tinkering. That's a big deal.
It did all the tinkering for you.
Right.
Okay. And I finished my half marathon. I'm sorry, my half Ironman. I trained. Things would always come up, and it was hard to plan. I was going through a couple different job situations and life situations, kid situations, keep having those kids. And I trained, I think I looked at the math, and I averaged about 5 hours a week training for the half iron, which are 13-hour, I'm sorry. It's about a 6-hour race. So some people were out there 10 hours, 13 hours.
I was going to ask, what's typical?
I think, so there's these standard benchmarks. There's like the 2-hour half marathon. I don't know what the 5K would be, the 20.
I think we agreed that Respectable is sub 25.
Yeah.
Respectable is sub 23.
Yeah, we'll put it around 23.
That would be like above average.
Yeah.
Well above average.
There's your pretty good weekender. And then there's a 2-hour half marathon. There's the 4-hour marathon.
Sure.
There's the 6-hour Ironman and the 6-hour half Ironman, 70.3, and then there's the 12-hour Ironman. That's what I think. I don't know if the Respectable scale is not just doubling. I wonder if it kind of, it's non-linear.
Yeah. The time should increase a little bit.
Yeah, but like I trained 5 hours a week, and I remember I was telling my neighbor, he goes, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm training for this race," and he's like, I was like, "You're about to see how little you can." I'm gonna show people how little you can do and do well at these things, and it's a lot of planning. But so that's why the intro guide to running, and I also did a trail half at 2 hours and 11 minutes, which was I don't remember the elevation gain, but it was the Pato Trail.
Yeah,
and I surprised I surprised myself. I was like, "There's no reason I should be even up here." No, granted, you've got guys that can literally just race it.
Yeah.
So one thing, we're not going to get into race choice or anything, but we're going to put a pin in this. When racing comes back up, race to finish before you race to be fast. That is the key to getting fast times.
I love that.
Race to finish. You have to finish first.
It's like, don't max out in the gym every day.
Yes, I see. Oh my God. So I'm like halfway into this race, and I see this guy, and he's walking, and he's talking on his phone. He goes, "Yep, can you come pick me up? This is the trail half marathon." He's like, "Yeah, it's just not working. It's not working." And I'm like,
he just blew himself up.
Yeah. And I'm like, "See, dude, that's where you messed up." But everyone's got stuff going on. So anyway, number one, please don't buy a program.
Don't buy a running program?
Don't buy a program.
People sell running programs?
Yeah. Are you messing with me?
No,
yes,
I don't know this stuff.
I know. Yes. Okay. Let's also couple that advice with sub-point for number one. Don't use a program right now.
I like that too.
Don't commit to a program where it's, okay, I do my normal distance. I start at 6 miles a week. I do 10% gains. Every fourth week I deload and I make it up to 36 miles per week. No, just don't do that. There's so much that goes into that what's the Reddit, subreddit, what's a respectable average miles per week?
Right.
It's different.
That's not you. You didn't just look up your prescription.
Oh no, I did, and I failed like 5 times doing it. Now we're here.
You've tried your prescription and realized you just need to tweak and tinker.
Yeah, 36 was my goal. 36 was like, because I did 3 runs a week. There was the tempo, the interval, and then there's the long. But it just didn't work.
So what do you do instead?
So what I did was, in general, I trained for duration. So no matter what I did something, I was trying to progressively work to duration. So not to get too much into Iron, because we're not going to talk Ironman training. We're just talking running. But when I was doing Ironman training, I would look specifically at each event, and I would I'd start at respectable pace, which was at the 6 hours.
Yeah.
I'd break that into what I thought it would be for each event, and then I would say, I have to hit that duration. So I have to be able to train to run 2 to 2.5 hours.
Okay.
I have to be able to bike for 3 hours, and then I have to be able to swim for 20 to 30 minutes.
Right.
So that's how you that's your baseline. That's what you feel out, and you just ask yourself. You just do your runs, and you say, can I? Well, first of all, we're not chasing a race, but what durations am I comfortable at right now?
I can break this down in lifting terms. It's like, where does your form break down? Does it break down at 8 minutes of running? Does it break down at 16 minutes of running? Does it break down at an hour? And so I think the connections between lifting and running are abundant.
And good point. And I think your form will break down before you realize it. You won't realize it for a week later. And you will realize that in the form of ITB, patellofemoral. You'll have tight psoas. You'll have all sorts of oddly loaded muscles. Incredibly sore calves. You'll have plantar fasciitis. So the next thing let's do is, these are not in an order. They're just a bunch of stuff here. So build a foundation. So let's talk about stabilize your foundation. So what I would do if I were to jump you right into that. Actually, I'm wondering if I should talk about this.
How do you build a foundation for running?
You stabilize. Okay, so let's talk about what you can do. Not to get too much into it, go online and look up the hip girdle Myrtl from Coach Jay Johnson.
You're gonna have to break that down.
Of Oregon. It's
hip
girdle Myrtl.
What's a Myrtl?
The MYRTL. It's
MYRTL.
It has something to do with girdle, but he had something that was important that started with an M, and he merged them because it helped him remember it.
So I'm sure the person listening is thrilled that they're going to have to get on their phone and Google this now.
Here, if you don't know anything about the Myrtl, I'll break down the important parts of the Myrtl for you right now. You're going to start off before you do you can do a little warm-up if you want to. Sometimes in the morning, it's better to do the Myrtl first, depending on how you feel in your joints. But you do a set of lunges. Forward lunges, side lunges, reverse lunges, no weight. And then there's one at a 45, but like I said, I'm breaking it down from memory. Then the next one is you lay on your side and you do the clams.
Clams.
So clams is just, you're opening the knees apart. Do it nice and slow. And I put my hand on my outer butt cheek. Was that glute med?
Yeah.
That's kind of what you're trying to involve. You're trying to get that glute med, and you just put your hand on it, and then the next thing you do is you do the Jane Fondas. So that's lying on your side, legs straight lifts. And you can do different variations, toe up to the sky, toe down to the ground, but you're just trying to feel that glute med. You can do it wrong and use your hip flexors and your abs, but you just kind of want to get that butt involved. So the Myrtl would be the one I'd start with. And then I'd do a dynamic warm-up of some sort, which is just monster walks, which is you're walking and you're kicking the... You ever seen that? It's like the Russian march. Your legs are straight and you're just kicking them out in front of you.
Oh, yeah, sure. Just like your basic dynamic stretching warm-up.
Mm-hmm.
You're going back and forth a certain amount of distance, doing these different kind of movements.
Yeah, I usually pick 3 mailboxes. Frankensteins.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just do 3 mailboxes, so it's not that long. It's and then one thing I do that I stress is shuffling.
Yeah.
Shuffling's a big one.
That's side to side.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
I like shuffling because it gets everything kind of fired up around. So that's...
the sides of your hips, especially in lifting, are very neglected. So adductors, glute med, like you were describing. So stuff like shuffles and these planks and clamshells and things that you're describing, those are all good. I like it.
Yeah. Then the last one is this. There's 2 more. I like Spider-Man walk. So he used to, when he crawls on buildings...
So I'm just going to crawl sideways up a building. No, that's on the floor.
You step out into a lunge and you drop your elbow to your ankle.
I know what this is. Yeah.
And then you put your other hand on the ground and then you just kind of walk like that.
Gotcha.
Like you're climbing on a building. And then the other one is, this is what monster walks are. I can't believe I mix those up. You get a small band, and I keep it in. I have a bunch of these. I have them at work. I have them in my car. Around your ankles, and you're just doing very small... You see me do it all the time in between deadlift sets. Very small lateral shuffles, slow. So when you got the band around your ankles, it's what, 12 inches? It's about that big, that loop.
No comment.
Okay. You can get any band from anywhere, but I use the Perform Better band. So if you go on Perform Better and you see that, then you can take a chance on the one on Amazon. Me and Steven have argued about this, that you don't need name brand bands.
I like nice bands though.
I do. I like bands that don't break. So that's where I draw it. So the monster walks are massive. Okay, so you will notice, and I did all this, if you do all that before you run, you will notice you are not nearly as sore, and you are going to be able to make gains because everything's now turned on.
Everything's turned on, and you're like a broomstick. You know,
you're
like
good.
Everything's turned on, and you're just a broomstick that's like
now
solid.
Yeah. Now, if you're really worried about stability, there's a couple more things you can do. You can do bird dogs, which is you get into the quadruped.
Very nice.
Brendon. All right, to the tabletop position, and you do opposite arm, opposite leg, and you're just trying to reach your ankle and your wrist as far as they can be from each other. Because I feel like when I do that, I have to squeeze my butt cheeks to do it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, probably in this Myrtl, there's some kind of glute bridge.
Oh, there's way more to the Myrtl, yeah, but
there's more to the Myrtl.
Key,
so I assume there's a glute bridge. So this is like a full core stabilization, get your hips under you sort of protocol, which I neglect. For my pathetic 8:30 mile, I just went out.
Yeah. Oh, so you're like, I don't have time to do 20 minutes of this. You're right. You don't. But if you make the time now, a year from now, you won't ever have to do it because your body's already ready to go.
I like that a lot.
You know, and that was a really hard hurdle that I had to get over. So I actually printed it out. I laminated it. I have a ring. And when I come out in the morning, I just grab it and I throw it down on the ground. And I used to do it.
So we'll drop these PDFs in the description. So of both the podcast and the YouTube videos so that you guys know what's going on and know all these movements, because obviously it's hard to explain from a chair.
God, you think of everything. Okay, so we talked.
I'm here.
Yeah, we talked about a foundation. That's because you have to stabilize first. Kind of like the old NSCA concept, stabilization.
Yeah, I'm following.
You know what I mean? I don't remember what that continuum is. But the next one is form.
So do you mean tangent? FMS, Gray Cook, mobility, stability, movement, or something like that?
Mobility, stability, strength,
yeah.
Power, yeah. Endurance.
Exactly.
Dude, look what we just did.
Look at us.
The coffee just kicked in. All right, so you stabilize. You built a foundation. The next thing is form. This is where people get hung up. They get too caught up chasing form. And let me just tell you, there are two ways you can learn form. Just bear with me here, because if you keep your volume low enough, your form will not be your consideration for form is based on how much volume you have. You can have insufficient form to a degree if you balance it with low volume.
Okay.
Let's not get too far into that.
No,
but
so this is because if this is for the lifter, it's just like you can do 315 for 3 good-looking reps. Mm-hmm. If you then try to bump it to 6 reps, your form's going to break down. So all you said was that you're not going to actually run as much as you think you need to run, because this is something I'm finding.
Yeah.
Even if my cardio is better, how do I want to put this? My ankles and hips and body need to catch up to my cardio. So I can go really hard on the assault bike, but my running muscles cannot go as hard as my heart wants to go.
Right, and that's going to merge into the next point. These are so hard to break apart. But yes, I guess we'll pull them all together. Yeah. So, again, your form, everyone's seen like the lifter runner. You know, you can see the way they move. When they pull their knee through to stride out, I don't know the phases of the gait, but when they pull their knee through, their ankles don't lift as high. You know, they're not like the track runner where the ankles brush the butt as they, you know.
Yeah.
And they don't have that really, you know, they kind of have a little bit of a front roll of their shoulders, and but that's kind of how the tactical runner is. A lot of like that I've seen, there's always the special operations guys. You know, there's a whole crew of them, and you've got that one side where they're just big, but they can run, but they're just big, and they're it's hard on their body, and they're running slightly inefficient,
but they're just so robust and strong and train so much that they can get through it.
They can get through it, yeah.
But that's not ideal.
No, but I think
you probably don't want to like scare yourself out of running. But again, to your point, if you're big and you run like poop, then you should probably like keep your volume low. Just bringing back old concepts. Go ahead.
Yeah, keep the volume low. Just okay, so this is how I think you can train your body to do form without having to think too much about it. Two things. So one is the sled drag, which we should do a video on how to build one of those sleds.
Great idea.
The reason Sean does not do the sled drag is because it's a time commitment.
That's true.
So we'll get to the other one is striders. But if we go to talk just about the sled drag, what's good about the sled drag is, so we're talking about a belt that is on your hips. I put it kind of, I don't know. You put it on your hips, you just low enough to where if you were to lean forward in a stiff position, you wouldn't feel like it was pulling your belly button. So it's got like a 8-foot rope behind it, and it goes through a tire, and then I put a 25 or a 45 depending on the slickness of the road. But you have to play with it because you have to be able to walk with it for about 20 to 30 minutes. So you want to keep a very light weight on it, and you have to kind of pick and choose where you walk on the road. But we'll get all into this when we do the video of the sled itself. But in general, when you have a sled drag behind you and it's attached to your waist, what it teaches you to do is it teaches you to be hip forward in your running.
That's brilliant.
You press your hips. So now my chest is up. I'm braking at the ankle and not at the hips.
Wow.
Here we go. And this is the best part. It teaches you to plant your foot underneath you to generate force.
Dang.
AKA preventing overstriding.
You're making me want to do sled drags.
I know, dude. Credit my buddy Chris Lyons. Shout out to Chris Lyons. He's
That's big time.
Yeah.
Because that's so much of it. When you get into, I'm going to use a bunch of terms, but anterior pelvic tilt, when you've got like duck butt, then all you're doing is basically planting into your psoas when you stride out in front of you. So this idea of becoming a straight up and down broom and having that thing lean
at the ankle.
I've heard that twice now. You're the second person to tell me that about you should lean from your ankles. And for a guy with like no dorsiflexion, that's me. That's I need to okay.
So what I do is I put my hand on my chest as a little bit of a cue, and I drive my hips up. I maybe squeeze my butt cheeks, and then I break forward at the ankle. And then when that sled starts moving, which is why you have to get the right weight for that to happen, the sled needs to move when you press your hips up and you lean forward, and then you just put that foot down. So what you'll do is also you will realize that when you do the sled drag, your feet will probably be the sorest until you condition them, because that foot is stepping down underneath you, and you're squeezing from toe to heel. You're getting all that fascia.
Yeah.
And you're squeezing, and it's almost like you don't have claws, obviously, and you're trying to claw the pavement back. Right. And your glute will become engaged, and this is pulling all back to form. When you have proper placement, your skeleton is in the right position, and then you're activating the correct muscles, which is what the sled does. You fall into good form. You fall into better form than you had.
I'm starting to see the light, and I'm trying to imagine how I'm going to do sled drags. Okay, well, let me bring it back to the lifter. Sled drags are a good part of any good program because you're only concentrically loading your legs, and so that's a good way to flush blood through the muscles without getting them incredibly sore from eccentrically loading them or like stretching them under weight, basically. So sled drags should already be a part of your program as a lifter, but then you have this added bonus of that's like bonus training for your running.
Yeah, and don't confuse this with prowler pushes or prowler pulls, because this is a low.
This is specific.
Yeah, this concept of the sled drag, and again, it'll make more sense when we post the video, but it is not a high heart rate thing. It is an endurance heart rate level, a comfortable. You should be able to talk to somebody while you do it. And you'll just feel this in your butt, your hamstrings, your abs, and your feet.
Yeah, that's a hard one to explain to a lifter too, especially someone coming from CrossFit. It's like you're not trying to blow yourself up, because you will pay for it in all of these running muscles. It's very hard to go into the zone 2 conversation with a CrossFitter, because if you don't hear it from somebody you respect, it's very hard to listen to. What you can do in the zone 2. So we'll come back to that. But okay, so the other thing is for form is striders. So striders is you're running in a straight line at a pace slightly faster than a jog, but lower than a run. So you got to feel it out. You got to see a strider. But
What you're doing, the purpose of a strider is just to turn all your muscles on. And when you turn all the muscles on, you get better form. So what happens is with the beginning endurance runners that go and buy a program and they don't do any of these warm-ups and they don't do any of the sled drags, the striders, what they do is they don't turn on all the muscles, and then how would you describe this? They inadequately assign muscles to the activity. You see what I'm getting at?
Yeah. They just kind of collapse through the running. They're getting through the workout, but they're not.
Right.
They're not making the best adaptations because they're just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your potential is so much lower than what you should be. But that's not okay. That's important though, because people are like, well, if I can run like that, then why do I need to run like you? Okay. You're right. You need that concept of running without all the muscles turned on is what you do the last 2 hours of your Ironman. You train, you know what I mean?
So that you can survive that and walk to the car after your Ironman.
Exactly. Yeah. That's survival.
It's for race day.
Yeah. It is not, you don't run crappy on your training days. Don't do that. Okay. So we talked about form, striders, and sled drag. The next thing is impact that you have to consider. This is the constraint to success, which is kind of the 2 points. You said your ankles.
Yeah.
Impact. Training for impact. So what you do is you eventually have to train and get the impact. But you don't need to do that until maybe you're getting closer to your race day where you're running on the surface that the race will be on.
Yeah.
So limit the impact for a while by sled drags, striders, lower volume, and then run on grass or dirt roads.
I love all of this.
Okay, so that's what the big, especially a big lifter. What I do is I do a lot of this stuff. I'll do my striders on pavement. I'll do my sled drag on pavement because you need that. You say proprioception or not proprioception. You need that mental link to that surface.
Yeah, that's what you're going to be running on race day.
Right. So then you run and you train your form and then your lungs on the softer surface, and then you slowly start pulling that volume in on the hard stuff. But I'm telling you, don't pull it in until you have the race, until you need to. Because who are you really impressing?
Right.
So what I do is I live on a golf course. I run on the golf course. That's a privilege that not everyone has. Not like that, but I mean, I'm not hating on my old golf course, but we don't maintain that thing very well. It is a golf course, but it's not what you think it is. So what you do is what I like to do is I used to go to a high school, and I would usually like at a complex where there's multiple schools on that property. I'd run around the outsides of the buildings.
So that they don't call the cops on you?
Exactly. So like kind of just in from the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Is usually around like Saline High School, that whole complex. You can get 4 miles in.
I love the little grassy medians all over just on the sides of the sidewalk. That's where I run.
Mm-hmm. It's just the only reason I recommend going to a building complex and not just doing it in town is because that's usually where the dogs crap. So it's just something to consider.
Oh, wow. Great point. Again, yeah. Things I don't know.
And like when you run between the sidewalk and the street, sometimes there's opportunities for those low like sewer. I've stepped my foot in a hole.
Oh, yeah,
before.
yeah. You can definitely snap up your ankles.
Yeah.
How are we doing on the list?
Oh, yeah, we're pretty close. All right, so impact, again, I talked about it. Run, I think I made all my points. Don't need to reiterate them. Okay, the last thing is endurance. It's easy. It's just a thing to consider. Not going to get too far into it now, but hydration happens 2 days in advance.
Wow.
Your endurance will be limited on your hydration. You don't realize it until you start doing proper hydration. So I'm not going to get into all the hacks on how to get properly hydrated, but what I say is the Hammer Nutrition Endurolites, those tablets are the best for me.
Those are electrolytes.
Yeah, it's an electrolyte blend. I would when I was training endurance, I would start drinking those the night before, and you'd be unstoppable because when you have your magnesium and your muscles aren't tightening,
yeah,
you're not going to have a calf cramp and then your form gets all jacked.
Interesting.
So there's that. Then there's diet fat adapted. So if you want to start endurance running, yeah, that's important. But right now,
I think that's good for a lifter. This list so far.
Yeah, that's it. That's it, man. I know I get carried away, but yes, just hydrate. You think you're tired. You're probably not tired. You're just dehydrated. remember we had that talk, and I was like, Sean, I'm really getting killed in these Metcons in the morning, and you're like, we figured it out. I was like, hey, dude, I just was really dehydrated.
I was really dehydrated. That's fair. I mean, yeah, speaking of mitochondria, which you're trying to build with all this aerobic activity, I mean, those things run and produce water. So there you go. You just need it. It makes sense.
My list is done, by the way. Sorry.
No, so I wanted to talk about this list because it is the lifter's guide to running. Oh, maybe that's it. Right?
I think it was it.
We don't even know what this is called. Super organized garage gym guys.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many concepts that lifters already know, but we kind of throw to the wind when we decide to go for a run. And I'm guilty of this with my pathetic 8:30 mile. I should have done striders, or I should have done something more structural, more getting me ready for the race, right? So my takeaways. Number 1, auto-regulate. You all know this feeling. You get in, the program says 405 for 3 reps. You start pulling 365 and you realize it ain't there today, right? So you pull back. So again, not having a program for your running is a good idea because you should just go out and like feel it out and get used to the sensation of running and running well. Okay, which brings me to the next point.
Running well, that's striders.
Good,
that's what that means.
Good form.
Yes.
Good form. This is another thing lifters know. They know I don't want to snap my stuff up, so I need to use good form. What helps with good form? Keeping the volume in check, right?
Right.
So when you run with low volume, you can always have, not always, but you will have a greater distribution of your running will be in that good form category, and you won't be just collapsing on your psoas and like bashing your plantar fascia, right?
Yes. So lower volume at good form. So all quality reps.
Right.
Quality reps.
Yeah, quality reps. These are all garage gym guy ideas, and we'll get more into this when we talk about kind of our lifting philosophy, if you can call it that. But auto-regulation, don't need a program, limit the volume to what's, what you're competent at, where you can have good form. And then I just like the idea of running on grass because I run in these like little minimalist shoes. Do you know I run in these?
Yeah, in the pavement.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
No, I mean, that's why I run on the grass all the time. It's because I'm just like, I can't handle it on the sidewalk.
Yeah, I run these are Ultra Solstice. They're low drop, but they're not minimal. But I need a tight upper. I'm surprised I'm not as worried about the minimal sole as the upper doesn't look tight.
Oh, I mean, I tighten them up.
Okay.
Before I go out.
Okay. So yeah, there's
anything else you want to talk about with running for the lifter? The lifter's guide to running?
One thing, if you really need to get your lungs pumping and that's on
this
your
is
mind,
great, yeah.
Do it on a bike or do it on a Metcon, do it on a jump rope or a burpee or a 90, not even a 95 pound. If you really feel like I need to burn it to feel good and sweat, do thrusters, do max set of thrusters at 95. Do
a 20 rep set.
Yeah, that will get your heart rate up enough. And what's Caroline's dad's name? Mike is a nasty Ironman. How old is he? 60?
Approaching 70, yeah, at least.
Oh my God. So Mike is nasty at Ironman, and he told me, now granted, he's got all the form and all the adaptations. He said, I swim now for my run training. He said he very rarely runs because he's
beat up.
He's stabilized. He didn't consider impact as much, or maybe his racing, even when you consider impact, you're still screwed. His form's good, so he's stable. He's got good form. He's got some impact quota, so he gets into his swimming. You won't be able to have the swimming because we're not swimmers. So, I love it, but most of the audiences do it on the bike, or do thrusters, or do jump rope, or do burpees.
Yeah. Quick aside, like if you look up, what are the things that give you the most kind of aerobic response or burn the most calories? I think would be something everybody understands. So, like, what burns the most calories? The top 2 or top 3 are number 1. Cross-country skiing, okay? That does not help the garage gym guy. I think number 2 is swimming, okay? That doesn't help the garage gym guy. Number 3, circuit training. And so this goes into our philosophy.
Sounds like our wheelhouse.
Exactly. Yeah. So especially if you're doing your strength sets, if you want to blow yourself up, just set up like 2 or 3 implements and be like, I'm going to do 10 reps here, 10 reps here, 15 reps here, and then just cycle it through for like 15, 20 minutes. And do I like jump rope as well, but we're going to get into the weeds. But circuit training is a great way to condition yourself. If your running hasn't caught up, your running form hasn't caught up with your conditioning, which is I'm basically talking to myself right now.
And me now, because I'm out of shape now. But yes, absolutely. Your lungs are better than your body right now. It's the way it is. It's the way it is. Which is okay.
Speaking the hard truths on Garage Gym Guys, that'll do it for the Lifter's Guide to Running. Sorry all for like the 25-minute ramble at the beginning. I thought it was worth it. It was good to catch up.
I need it. Okay, so I want these episodes all organized, one topic, and we get granular. But dude, I don't see you during the week, and I restrict my conversation because I want to talk about it here.
My guy is not on Marco Polo anymore because he threw his phone at the wall like an idiot.
Do not break your only trusted Apple ID device. You will have a hell of a time getting your Apple ID.
Come on. Oh,
verified.
He doesn't have his Apple ID. I get it.
There's the problem. So let's do this. So instead of doing a weekly challenge for each of us where we divert into different directions, let's do one challenge. I want you to give the weekly challenge for both of us. The problem is consider we got everything going into the gym. Not everything. We can make some room, but we're gonna have less floor space. And then so we got a short week, which is okay. What's our weekly challenge for this week?
My first challenge is to get a power adapter for my camera because I don't want to like get up 5 times during an episode. Okay. The next challenge is to do more of the same, but do it. Okay. So already what I'm thinking about is doing my strength training, doing a circuit, but actually doing a circuit. And then especially like I've been running on upper body days. However that's worked out because I alternate upper lower almost every day. I'm going to be more consistent with my running and do the striders because this has been illuminating. I'm just like, I need to run with good form. It's not the time to blow it up for 30 minutes and see how far I can get because I'll just screw myself for the next couple weeks. Wrap it up, Brendon.
All right. Well, that's it. That's Beginner's Guide to Running. We're going to come back. Well, we're going to talk about something next week.
Beginner's Guide. It's the Lifter's Guide to Running.
Check that. Edit that out. That is the Lifter's Guide to Running. Because if you want to run, you still got to look good and look swole. So you better keep doing it so you can do both. Does that sound good? I got my eyes shut because I'm embarrassed to look at you right now.
All right. That's the end of the episode. Thank you, everybody.